Let me know that you can hear me through the chat box. Just say yes, yes, yes. Great, Lara. Thank you, John. Helen. Yes, yes, yes. Janet, thank you. So welcome. We are expecting 17 people. But I know it's pre-Easter, so I know things get in the way. So for those of you that have joined, Helen, Janet, Joanna, John, Jorgen, is that right, Jorgen? I know you, but I'm terrible with names. Tell me if I pronounce that correctly. Lara, Stephen, welcome. So today's webinar, we're going to be galloping through in 30 minutes, and we're going to talk about what you need to do to prepare and get yourself ready for a corporate partnership strategy. And everyone on today is either a CEO, founder, board member, or director. So thank you for joining in. Bear with me a sec. There you go. So what we promised you, I'm just going to run through that so you know what's coming. We said you would use key factors for success. Corporate partnerships, setting up a strategy is a very time-consuming thing, and you don't want to waste any of it. We know how tight resources are in the non-profit space. So we're going to look at the things that have non-profits fail so that you can avoid doing those things. And as senior management and leaders of non-profits, it's important that you give your people the appropriate guidance. Hi, is it Jorgen? Jorgen? How do we pronounce it? Write it phonetically for me. So I did say that we would answer some questions. Some of you have provided some brilliant questions, which has been great. I've had a chance to think about those, and about 15 minutes in, we'll dive into those. If you have any additional questions, please do put them any way you please, says Jorgen. Well, I'm going to call you Jorgen because that sounds good. So yes, any other questions, please put on the chat box, but I will address those ones that came through the registration first. Which is the resources that you can share with your team and your co-founders and directors and the people that you work with. So they'll be coming through this afternoon from Georgia. So look out for an email there. The resources are going to include this really cool infographic, which I will touch on later, called the 4 purses, which identifies not 1, not 2, but 4 different purses that you can tap into when approaching corporates. We're going to share an infographic called the 7 benefits of the corporate partnership. One of the big failings of non-profits is that they think that corporates are just cash cows and their whole approach to corporates is about getting cash from them. That's called philanthropy. And in the environment that we're currently in, where companies are in recovery, the economy is in a downturn, companies want bang for their buck. So they want to be approached from non-profits, and they want to solve problems, and they want to make sure that there is a return on investment. So the partnership model is absolutely the right model for this current economic environment. We're also going to share an infographic called the Be Partner process. This is a process that some of you who've known me in my previous business, Cavill & Co, you'll know that I have developed a process called Heart Smart, which evolved. Let me just switch my email off because it's driving me nuts. All the reminders are coming. Bear with me a sec. I'm just going to switch that off right now. Apologies. Done. So this process, I began developing this around the year 2000, and then I've evolved it, worked with some incredible change makers over the years, evolved it, and it's evolved yet again into an online format, which is now called bepartnerready.com, with my business partner called Georgia McIntosh, who you'll be hearing from. This process gets you partner ready, but the key thing and the key failing of many nonprofits is they're not organisationally ready. So that's what I'm going to touch on today. And I will give you an opportunity to share this incredible Q&A together from all the years and all the work that we've been doing with nonprofits into the key areas that will have you be successful. So this is a Readiness Q&A. Give it a go. It's free. You get your answers through on email. You can then book in a call with us and we'll talk it through. There is a score system where nonprofits and social enterprises get a score out of 100. Green is obviously the top marks. That means you're ready to go. Amber means you've got a bit of work to do, but you're sort of close to being ready. And red means you're definitely not ready. In fact, it's possibly just not the right strategy for you. So we won't allow people who get a red score to do our program. That's how much we are confident about the readiness process. So for those who may not know me, I'm a do-goodologist. God, I can't get my words out today. I need chocolate, don't I? When is the Easter Bunny coming? I've spent 25 years building 50 partnerships between companies and charities, working through my other business called Cabell & Co. That is now exclusively for corporates. And then all the training, all the learnings and all the insights from my work with corporates, I then translate that into training. And it is now all in one place, which is at the bepartnerready.com website. So I've been around a long time. I thrived the introduction of the internet. My second partnership, which was between Kellogg's and Kids Helpline, was done by fax. Hard to believe, I know, but we didn't have internet in a mass market sense back then. My business survived the Y2K bug when everyone thought the world was going to blow up, and also the 2009 GFC. And obviously now I'm here still after the global pandemic. So I don't know whether it's about determination or sheer doggedness that has had me survive, but I do believe that working through processes and delivering good value is one of the main reasons that I'm still here and still in business. Let's just jump in, shall we? So the 4 purposes, this is a critical distinction. And I really don't know how any organisation can even consider pitching to corporates without knowing this. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. So this is an infographic. I will send it through and it details the 4 different purses. So the first one is the HR purse. The second is the philanthropic purse. The third is the CSR, corporate social responsibility purse. And the 4th is the marketing purse. So let's look at the first purses. They're the smallest purse. The HR purse is very small and often takes a hell of a lot of work coming up with ideas for their staff to become involved. So that's a fairly small purse, but a lot of effort. And this is a lot of complaining from nonprofits I hear is around this purse. So we don't focus on that one. The second purse is the philanthropic purse. Now there might be $2 or $3 million sitting in foundation, working foundation, and AMP Foundation, Vodafone Foundation. So I know that there can often be a big chunk of money sitting there, but they, in the main, they will slice it up into lots of small grants. And you'll be lucky if you get $20, $30, $50,000. I have worked with a few where I've encouraged them to move from more of a scattergun philanthropy model to a more strategic model. But the key thing about the philanthropic purse is they have legal restrictions. It's a legal foundation and it's not just called a foundation, and there are a few like that. If it's a legal foundation, they are not allowed to derive a commercial benefit from their relationship with you. It is a donation. They give you money to achieve a particular impact that they want to achieve, and they get a tax deductible receipt. So it's quite niched, and it means that they can't really leverage the relationship. So it is very much philanthropic. You can't expect them to help build your brand or help reach out to their donors, to their customers, and convert them to donors, because they could be accused of actually deriving a commercial benefit, which they're not allowed to do. So the philanthropic purse for us is fair, and I haven't got stats to back this up, but my gut sense is that it's actually a reducing purse. Number 3 is the CSR purse. We know for a fact there's lots of stats to bear this out, that this is a growing purse, and it's not just growing in the big corporate area, it's growing in the small to medium enterprise as well. There's a lot of organizations out there. Often when I go to smaller organizations just to buy products for myself, I notice that they are doing, you know, they have a CSR strategy or they have a social good strategy. So even smaller organizations are getting on board with this process, and there's a very, very good reason why they're doing that, and I'll tell you about that in a moment. And the marketing purse is the biggest purse, but obviously the key thing here is that whoever holds the purse will have a different job title, and unfortunately it's not the same, but it sounds similar. So HR is normally people and culture. Sometimes it's called HR if you're lucky. The philanthropic purse, generally foundation manager. Sometimes it's run out of corporate affairs. CSR can be anything from CSR to sustainability, and then marketing generally can be brand, sponsorship, sales director, but you know, generally it's the person responsible for promoting and marketing the organization. So knowing the job title will tell you so much about what they want, because if they're a marketer, they're going to want marketing benefits in return. If they are a CSR manager, they're going to want to fulfill their CSR. Their job title completely dictates the language that you use, the offer that you put into them, the way in which they're going to measure it. So this simple thing actually gives you so much information, and I'm horrified by how many people approach me who have got an opportunity and they have no idea what the job title is of the person that's approached them, when actually just asking that one simple question tells you so much. It'll help you and your teams get really clear on who they're talking to and why they might want to partner with you. And it works in reverse. If they approach you, it's a great thing to have. If you're approaching them, it's really good to know who to approach. Here's the 5 top reasons that nonprofits fail at corporate partnerships. So there's a couple of ways of going about a corporate partnership strategy. I call it the easy hard way or the hard easy way. Most nonprofits take the easy hard way. And that basically means that they don't do much work up front because it's all a bit too hard. They might ask their board for some contacts. They might just, you know, spend a bit of time online having a look at that corporate. They'll put a PowerPoint together and talks about who they are and what they do, and then they'll try and get a meeting. Now, if they've got a strong brand and if they've got good contacts on their board, they very likely will get a meeting. And then that's when things start to get very hard. It's almost impossible to get a partnership across the line because the organisation hasn't done the hard work up front. So the way that I do it, and you know, it doesn't make me necessarily popular, and because people don't like the hard way, but the hard way is my way. But it makes things easy when you actually are sitting in front of a corporate. So the hard way is to get really clear on what it is that you want. So you set your intention, you work out what your strengths and weaknesses are. You do an assets inventory where you identify all the assets that you could be offering to a company, and then you value them. So you know what to ask if a company wants to have that asset. You develop up sponsorship assets as well. You develop a sponsorship proposal for those key programs, services or campaigns that are genuinely sponsorable. And what I mean by that, if there's no benefit to be had, if there's no assets on an assets inventory, then it's not sponsorable. It's basically you want money for it, and that's philanthropy. So doing an assets inventory helps you to work out what is sponsorable, what's going to be valuable to a corporate partner and what isn't. We then do a partnership model where you value your brand. And you create a model for how you wish to engage with corporates and a set of guidelines. So this is all part of the bepartnerready.com process. And it's hard. It's 7 months, not solid 7 months, but about 20 hours a month of solid, consistent, high-level thinking. But it makes life so much easier when you get in front of a company and you've done all that work, things move very quickly, and you can literally go from a meeting to signing them up in the matter of weeks. And I've seen it happen on numerous times. Number 2, they're not organisationally ready. The key, sort of 5 key factors of organisational readiness is where organisations, they lack clarity around their brand, who they are, what they do, what's unique about them, what their key message is, the problem that they're solving. And sometimes it's about your competitors and where you sit in relation to your competitors, what niche you sit in. Corporates are very, very focused on solving problems. Their whole job is to identify the needs and wants and problems of their customers, create products and services to meet those needs at a profit. So you must know what problem you're solving. We ask this question on our Readiness Q&A, and it's amazing how many times charities don't tell us what problem they're solving. They tell us the solution, but you have to know the problem. Non-profits are not clear on what they have to offer, the value of that offer, or what they want from corporates, or if it's about money, how they would use that money. So they're just not clear. Board and management often don't understand the complexities involved, and they don't realise that it's a long-term strategy. It takes 12 to 18 months to implement a strategy and then get results. And it's amazing how many great, really good star quality people leave organisations because of this pressure to fulfil a goal within an unrealistic time frame. They're essentially set up to fail. The 4th one is the federated model. It can frighten off a lot of corporates because it makes it look like it's going to be really hard work. So if you are a federated organisation, you need to become unified and have a single proposition and a single message when approaching corporates. They're not interested in how many states you've got and what's different about those states. They want to partner with an organisation. And then the 5th thing is just using the wrong language, completely using the wrong language, talking to a marketer and putting an ask in the PowerPoint. Corporates don't understand that language. It's fundraising language. The 3rd thing is not providing staff with adequate skills and training. So what I see and hear a lot is that the job of corporate partnerships is given to someone who's a staff performer, but they're already stretched because they're a staff performer. Sometimes this is people who are doing fundraising or events. Now, the problem with people is they're very reactive to, things that are coming at them. And it's very hard to actually put time aside to do something like a corporate partnership strategy. So you need someone who's got some capacity to be able to do this. Often the job of corporate partnerships is given to someone who just isn't the right person. The right person, you need a go-getter, someone with an attitude of abundance, someone who is creative but also loves process. And ideally, if you find that person but they're just not trained up, then get them trained up. And the other thing that often nonprofits do is they want consultants to do it. If I had $1 for every time someone said, "Can you just do it, Hayley, for us?" Well, I'd be very wealthy and I wouldn't be running a webinar on the Thursday before Easter. You cannot get consultants to do it. You have to have this process embedded within your organisation, and you have to go and meet with the corporate. They want to meet with you. I'm happy to sit in a meeting occasionally with my clients, but they want to meet the organisation that they're going to be doing business with and entering a partnership with. So bepartnerready.com, if you're interested in looking at training for your teams, take a look. It's a fantastic process, and there's so many resources there that you can download for free. The 4th thing is they go at the wrong time. This is one of the questions that came through. Is there a right time? Yes, there is a right time. And it's February, March. So most nonprofits go to the sector when they're told to. So most people go when they're told to go. Either the board say, off you go. I know that sounds really simplistic, but That's what I hear happens. Or they've run out of money and they need money from, and they think corporates is the golden goose that will give them the money, or they lose a sponsor and they suddenly need to go and get a new sponsor, and they go at completely the wrong time. So you go when the corporate is setting their budget. That's the time to front up, not when it works for you. So the reason that February, March is the best time is that about 70% of companies in Australia operate on a July, June financial year. And that tends to be the Australian companies. So they're setting their budget in February, March. And then there's about another 20% of mostly global companies who might be based here, but they are global and they operate on a calendar year. The best time to approach them is August, September. And then there's about 10%, 15% of those that are October or March that are a bit weird. The Kiwi companies, they have a very weird financial year. The key thing is you've got to know, if you've got a prospect, you've got, one of the things you need to know is what's the job title of the person I'm talking to and what is the financial year of this organisation. These are critical questions before you have your 5th meeting, because it will dictate whether they're interested. It's very hard to even get a response from someone outside of the budget time because they've got no money. And as soon as they see a charity or a non-profit sending them an email, the immediate thing they think is they want money. I don't have any money. My budget's gone. I'm not even going to bother to respond. And then the 5th thing that non-profits tend to get wrong when embarking on a corporate partnership strategy is they lack adequate research. So they don't have research to prove their the promises they're making. So they say things like, we're a trusted charity, we're a well-known charity, we're a leader in our space, and they don't have any research to back that up. So they lack research around their organisation and around the problem they solve. And then the other thing is when they start talking to prospects, they don't have adequate research before going to prospects, and they ask questions that really they should know from looking at their website, and that you just lose credibility in the eyes of the corporate. So I know that's a very quick roll call of the things that non-profits do wrong, but if you want to get it right, go to bepartnerready.com. This is a process that I have been evolving and improving over 20 odd years. And the latest version is a very modern online version with videos and templates and includes cutting edge research from 2020 consumer research called the Conscious Consumer Report. So this is the 7-step process. I am running a couple of webinars at the end of April where I talk through this process in a lot more detail. So if you're interested in that, keep an eye out on your email. You will be informed when the webinars are up and ready. So this program has produced numerous results for numerous organisations across Australia and including New Zealand, large organisations like WWF Australia, smaller organisations like Habitat for Humanity, Hello Sunday Morning, Pet Rescue. It's produced numerous results. So it's a proven process that does work in the real world. Great, Helen. I would like some of your eggs, please. I am in desperate need of some chocolate. So here's some questions. If you have any questions relating to what I just said, please pop it in the chat box and I will get to it as soon as I've addressed these. But we do have some really juicy ones that came from some of our guests. So the first one is Samantha online. Samantha's not online, so I might just move her question to the end. Stephen is online. Hey, Stephen. Stephen asked a question, do you think the role of corporate Australia regarding partnerships representing social issues is more important than ever? If I've read that question correctly, I would say absolutely yes. Consumers are demanding that companies get involved in solving social problems. They want them to partner with charities and they want them to partner with government. And I'm not just saying this, this is actual consumer research from November 2020, the Conscious Consumer Report. Download it for free from our website if you haven't already. I don't know exactly what corporates are thinking, because that kind of reason I'm looking to mount some very soon. But the fact is, in a recession, when there's been a pandemic and you've potentially lost customers, the way to win back customers is to give them what they want, and this is what they're demanding. And it's mass market now. It's not just a niche. It's not just Gen Z or millennials. It's all of them. So yes, great question, Stephen. Helen asked a question. What's the key to unlocking the synergy between non-profits and corporates? So the key to unlocking synergy is to identify your prospects based on your organisation's values, your organisation's brand character, your geographic location, and the problem that you solve. And we have a 7-step process for doing that. Then, when you get that list down from about 200-300 to about 50 to 20 hot prospects, you then research them and look for those synergies. And again, go back to the 4 Purses. If you want to partner with an organisation in order to promote your brand on a mass market scale, so if you're an Are You OK? Yes, money's great, but you want to get this message out there. So it makes sense to partner with someone like KitKat. That partnership didn't just happen on its own. Somebody saw the synergy and went for it. So that's how you unlock it. Great question, Helen. Lara, is Lara online here? Yes, she is. Lara, this is your fantastic question. What is the most effective ongoing method process to measure partnerships and ensure both parties are benefiting? Well, this is all in the setup. And again, this is one thing that nonprofits could do better at, is when you first start the relationship, getting really clear on what your shared objectives are. So I have quite different objectives. I have commercial objectives. So what is the company wants from the relationship? The societal objectives, i.e. the social impact that they're looking to achieve. And they should be directed by you, because you're the organisation focused on that area. Then there are the partnership objectives, the things that you want to do together, the things you want to achieve together. Then you have outcomes, which you can measure. And then you have outputs. So outputs are things like how many people logged on and downloaded a recipe. That's an output. An outcome is change of behaviour. How many people did something that you wanted them to do? Okay, so it's all about setting up very clear, smart objectives and having those in an agreement. So everyone at the beginning of the relationship knows what they are. And then it's actually not that difficult to measure it, because you just put measures in place. Companies measure so many things, and if they can measure it, great, because they'll pay for it. So for a company, it might be they want to be seen as a caring company. They want to reach more males. They want to reach more Gen Y. They can measure all of that. And they often have existing measurement devices, measuring staff engagement, measuring motivation, pride. You can do all of that. You've just got to make sure it goes into the staff survey. So I hope that helps in terms of measuring the relationship, the value of it to you. Well, that again depends on what it is that you want to achieve from that relationship. So this is why we call it the hard, easy way, because a lot of it relies on doing the hard work up front, having those conversations. People just want to go fast track to the fun stuff. But then the fun stuff often doesn't happen because you fail to do the thinking at the beginning. Kathy asked a good question. Is Kathy online? No, she didn't come. Jorgen asked a great question. We have invested in our brand. Awesome. We've had some success with partnerships. Awesome. How do we value our partnerships correctly? So I'm not sure what you mean by that, Jorgen. So if you can tell me a little bit more. You want to value them. In what way do you want to value them? So if you can give me a bit more, because I'm not fully understanding the question. In some way, in dollar terms. Again, it goes back to your objectives. It's not always about dollars, is it? Do you mean for them? Showing them the value? So if you want to show them the benefits that you're delivering, then you have to do your assets inventory, which is one of the things we recommend you do up front. So you can actually say, we're giving you $600,000 worth of tangible, valuable assets here in return for your $100,000. But if you haven't done that job, you can't do that. In terms of putting a dollar value on the actual relationship, so the thing that's created by the two of you, that really depends on what it is that you set out to. So it's a little bit too tailored for me to answer. Happy to take that offline if you would prefer, Jorgen. Yeah, it's a complex question. Great question. Made my hair curl last night when I read it, but not something I can just sort of answer quickly. John asked a great question. John, what is available to guide nonprofits through the legalities and liability potentially attaching to corporate partnerships with the private sector? Fantastic. My quick answer is I don't really know. If it were me, I would go to ACNC. They've got some fantastic resources. I do have a great relationship with a legal firm called Legally Yours, who help people find lawyers for particular reasons at no charge. So check them out. I think it's called Legally Yours. And I'll check with the Australian Institute of Corporate Lawyers, because I did a talk for them before the lockdown, and see if they have any resources. But I'd start with ACNC. That's the Charities Commission, whatever place. It's a hard one because laws are different per state and they're changing all the time, but, you know, awesome question. And the final one, Chris, is Chris online? Chris Lockwood? No, I might answer it though, because it's a very good question. How to best frame, present in the value in a partnership with a non-profit? Again, it all really depends on the objectives that you want to achieve, that they want to achieve. That's where the value is. If they want to reach a particular audience and you can deliver that audience, then you can value that. Okay, so it's all about achieving objectives. I think there might be another question that I missed. Oh, Kathy asked a great question. What is the trend re-duration of partnerships? 1 year, longer, shorter? 3 years. 3 years. I wouldn't go for any shorter because you just don't get proper traction till about year 2. So push for a 3-year partnership. And there's a lot of effort setting it up. Before you know it, the first year. And the trick to renewing the relationship, so I always go for a 3-year relationship, renewable at the end of each year with a review meeting. And the trick is setting up the objectives at the start and then being able to demonstrate at the end of year 1 that you achieve them. Why wouldn't they re-sign? It's when everyone sets these airy-fairy objectives that aren't smart, and then you've got no way of achieving them. You set yourself up to fail, and then you come to the first year review meeting and you haven't achieved them. That's an easy, no, let's not renew this. I think that's it. Any other questions? I hope that's helpful. Yep, that's it. Fantastic. I enjoyed thinking through those questions. I've got a couple more slides that I would like to just get through, if that's all right with you. Please give our Readiness Q&A a go. Even if you did it a year ago, you're welcome to give it another go. We have enhanced it. And if you want to jump on a call with us, it's completely free. We can talk through your results. You will get either a red, amber or green score. And if you get a red score, it means you're not ready and you can't do the program. Probably not the right strategy for your organisation right now. So please give it a go. It's a great resource that we've developed for you. We've got more webinars. Today obviously is the one we're on now, but there's more coming up where we dive into the program and we dive into other topics, including readiness. So keep an eye on your email, because we will send you information when things are coming out. We've got some great blogs coming up. There's some awesome research that's come out in the last few months that pretty much, well, it definitely bears out what our conscious consumer research is showing. And it's great evidence and great stats for your teams to include in their presentations. So keep an eye on the blogs. They're coming out in the next couple of weeks. And finally, there's 2 scholarships coming up for our program beginning in May. There's one through our partner Mullen, which is being promoted right now. So check our socials. Something will be landing in your inbox next week. And there's also one through the Australian Centre for Rural Entrepreneurship. George has put the link there. Thanks, G. So Australian Centre for Rural Entrepreneurship did our program last year, loved it so much that they decided to pay it forward by offering one up for organisations who serve regional communities. So the scholarships are for organisations who are under 2 million. So they're for, you know, the smaller organisations who may not be able to do the program. Any questions from anyone? I'm happy to answer anything. If anyone would like me to put them on, I can allow you to chat. So if anyone would like to actually chat, just let me know and I'll put you on. Lara, thank you. I really enjoyed it. I'll definitely fill out the form and see how we go. Awesome. Thanks, Lara. Anyone else got a question? Belinda? Christy? Jeff? What about you, Helen? Janet? Joanna? Useful tune-up. Fantastic. That's good coming from someone of your experience. Thank you, Jorgen. Great. What about you, John? Great. Yep, go and do it now. It's pretty much there all year, really, but now's a good time to do it, because we did have a few people do it sort of July last year, and then they wanted to do a program and they couldn't because it had already begun. So it's beginning early this year, starting in May. So do it as quickly as possible. Thanks very much. I learned so much. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Looking forward to harnessing the power of a well-peace corporate partnership program. Oh, love it, Janet. Are both the scholarships for under 2 million? Yes. We've got another one coming up through F&P. We might make that a little bit higher. What's your income, Belinda? Tamworth Family Support Services, what's your income per annum? We might increase that one a little bit, maybe under 5. But last year we had organisations who were turning over 60 million apply for our scholarship. So I kind of thought, no, this is for the little guys. Thanks, everyone. If you have another question, go for it. If not, I know it's the day before Easter, so please have a lovely Easter. The weather's going to be beautiful, I believe. Maybe not up in Queensland, but everywhere else. The slides and the recording will be coming through this afternoon. So keep an eye out on that and all the resources that we promised you. We are small and mighty and we will be applying. Awesome. Yeah, you're unlocked. That's fantastic. 3 days really doesn't compare to 120 days, does it? Us Victorians will never let Australia forget that. I'm glad you're out of lockdown. It's horrible. Well, there are some good things in lockdown.